Hello once again, witchy people. Please excuse the state of me. I wasn't planning on doing a video today, but I watched a couple of videos. I watched one from Brittany, Palm Tree Bewitchery, and then one from Justin. And Brittany's one was a reaction from Justin's video. Now, what they talked about, I have spoken about in my own opinion before, but I would like to do not so much a video reply as a video reaction to their videos. Brittany was very much talking about fluff bunnies, fluffy witches, and how offensive it can be to other people if you always appear to be looking on the bright side, because you're not acknowledging someone's pain or what they've been through. Justin, I think, used the word emotional and spiritual bypassing and love and light toxicity. And Justin was very much, people have been using the love and light moniker to almost like a passive aggressive sort of thing. It's a veiled insult. I think he called it the equivalent of the southern bless your heart, which I know what he means by that. I think, like I said, for myself, and this is going to go into very much what Brittany was saying, and also what Justin was saying about accepting the darkness. I cannot speak for anyone else but for myself, in that I am not what I think the phrase that's been used a lot over the past couple of years has been light worker. I am not a light worker. I could never be a light worker. Now, in that I mean that I cannot do just good. I don't see just the good in things. It's not all love like butterflies, roses, rainbows, fluffy bunnies and unicorns. It's not all sunshine and flowers. And if I only drew on that side of my path and only used that energy, I would be creating an unbalance in many ways, but specifically for myself, I would be creating an unbalancing, and that doesn't sit well with me. You can't, for someone who has suffered manic depression, you can call it bipolar if you like. I hate that expression, but I suffer from manic depression, so I know what it's like to think for a very long time that everything is wonderful. But trust me, when something is always beautiful and wonderful and lovely, you very soon stop appreciating it. That is just the way it is. You cannot be forever happy without then losing the appreciation of being happy and what it feels like to be happy. In the same way that if you are always sad, you know, you don't appreciate those times when you need to feel the sadness. You have to have a balance. Now, saying that, I can understand that there are people who are what they call light workers. And I think that's fine, because if you think about it this way, if there are light workers, people who only see the good side, only work with positive magic and positive energies and, you know, walk the right path, as they say, there are also people who only work with dark energies and dark matter and dark feelings and only walk the left-hand path. it's very similar, I think, to being offended. People get offended by this in the same way that they get offended by being called a white witch. By white witch, you know, it's not a term that a lot of people like. And it's not just a recent thing that they don't like. It's for many, 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 many years. People do not like the term white witch. Because it insinuates that, you know, and black magic is the other one. It insinuates that something can only be a one dimension of itself. Magic is not black or white. It is the intent that determines that. Negative magic is not always bad, because binding spells, for instance, is a negative magic, and you need sometimes to do binding spells and such like. No magic that was ever done purely for good or purely for bad is ever going to work out. Think about it this way. For instance, if you only ever did good magic, and I'm using good in, you know, put it in speech marks. If you ever did only what you believed light work and good magic, you'd never be able to bind someone. But you would be able to say, for instance, do nothing but love spells all day. That would be a really bad thing, because it's a bad thing. You can't always do things for love, light and happiness, because you are altering people's will and not just manipulating energy and focusing energy for your own benefit or detriment. You know, for instance, if you did a diet spell, that's a negative spell, because you are, you know, that's similar to a binding spell, I suppose. You can't do just all bad or just all good. Okay, I can't do just all bad and just all good. I'm sure there are people out there that can do just light work or just dark work. And I think that's it. It's how you balance your witchcraft, your spirituality. I'm going back to what Justin said about the love and light toxicity. Basically what Justin was saying was that people are using love and light. People used to sign off an awful lot, love and light. And it was supposed to mean something. And now people are using it as almost a dismissive. I recognise what you've said, but I'm not acknowledging it, really. It's almost like, you know, backhanded compliments. You know, like, one of my favourites I ever heard as a backhanded compliment, which I thought was just mean girls extreme, was, "Oh, you look really great in that dress. Now you've put on so much weight." Okay. Fantastic. It's nasty. It's mean. It's horrible. It's, you know, there's no need for it. And there is that whole, when you're saying, as Justin said, you're saying, oh, love and light, you are dismissing that person's pain, their experience. And both Brittany and Justin did reference certain things that, oh, made my stomach turn. And if someone had said to me, oh, love and light, I would, I don't know. it's very hard to go into some things because I don't share my personal life on my channel. Okay, I do share my personal life, I share my personal path, but I don't share hurtful, I don't share experiences, because they're no one's experiences but my own. And the terrible things that have happened to me in my life, I just, you know, I mean, people know that my father passed away, and I feel he was quite young when he passed away. So people know that, but they don't know how or what happened to me afterwards. And it's not something I need to share. But basically, I had a breakdown after my father died. I became almost suicidal. Seriously, I did not want to be here any longer. I wanted to be somewhere else, anywhere else, which was selfish of me, because I have children, I have a mother, I have a brother, I have family, I have friends, and I get angry at myself now, but back then it kind of made sense to me that yes, I was being selfish. If someone at that point had turned around to me and said, oh, love and light, well, there, never mind, which is kind of I think the English equivalent, there, never mind, it would have thrown me completely into a spiral of the worst kind, absolute pain, because you are saying to someone that what they are going through or what they have been through is not important. You're acknowledging it, you're understanding that they've said something and that they've gone through something, but you're not acknowledging. Oh, it's really hard to explain. You're accepting the fact that they've told you that something has happened, but you're not acknowledging it. You're just dismissing it. It's not important enough. So I can understand why people get very angry at this whole the love and light toxicity idea, and that nothing is always good. You can't appreciate something if you don't see it from both sides, you know, or from all sides, because, you know, so, you know, when it comes to he said, she said, you know, someone's version of a story, that there's what one person said, what the other person said, and there's a bit in the middle that probably is the truth somewhere. You know, you have to see things from all sides to appreciate something. I do believe, like I said, that there are people that truly are light workers. There has to be, in the balance of things, because there must be people out there that are just, like I say, the phrase they like to use is left-hand path, who just do dark magics. And like I said, you know, you can call it dark magic, light workers, left-hand path, right-hand path. For most witches, specifically talking about witches, for most witches, I think you have to acknowledge the fact that you do have to have balance. It's very rare, I think, that people are just light workers or just performers of dark magic. To be those extreme one side, I think it's incredibly rare. Even if you like to think that you're a light worker, I think you have to admit that you're not really, because it's a very difficult thing to be. And, you know, even if you follow and, you know, you claim to be a dark worker, you have to accept that some of the things that you do will end up good for somebody. So you can't always do bad things and expect bad things to happen, and can't always do good things and always expect good things to happen. It doesn't work out that way, because the universe, life, everything has a balance. But like I say, there are there must be some very rare people out there who are an extreme one or the other and don't mix at all and don't have that balance of light and dark. And you must have to have that. If there are some people that just do light, then there have to be people that just do dark. But for me, it's not. But I must admit, when after Justin, and I know this is kind of like a very garbled video, jumping from one thing to another, when Justin mentioned about the love and light toxicity, I did actually realise that I haven't had that sign off on an email or a letter or anything for a long time, and I hadn't noticed its absence. So this must be why the absence was there, because there is it's become something of a dismissive remark, something that you say to someone to dismiss their experience, dismiss their pain. And if you yourself do that, and Brittany herself has just gone through an absolutely terrifying ordeal with her husband, and it's like she said, if she had stood there and said everything will be okay, she is not experiencing life. And I know Justin's been through some, what I can only describe as tragic circumstances in his life. To breeze through these and not accept the pain that they cause and acknowledge the pain and the darkness of it all is to not be experiencing it and to not be living it. So not only can you, the love and light toxicity thing is not just how you are dismissing someone else's. If you are living that yourself, are you then dismissing your own pain and not accepting your own feelings and therefore not living a full life? It's like I said, I'm not claiming that. It's a question that kind of is I'm thinking about. There are some, okay, going on specifically about Fluff Bunny and this whole love and light thing. This is where it's joining, is the love and light and spiritual bypassing and emotional bypassing and Fluff Bunnies. Going back, it must have been a good 7, 8, 9 years ago, was the first time I started hearing fluffy witch as an insult. Some people even now do actually quite like to be called a fluffy witch. It's not an insult to them. They accept that everything, it's almost like it's done in a very light-hearted, unserious way. And like I said, it did come to mean very much an insult, but not to everyone. Everyone has the right to lead and follow the path that they want to. I'm not saying that you're wrong if you consider yourself a light worker, or you're wrong if you consider yourself to only work with dark magic and negative magic. All I'm saying is that for most people that's very difficult and not a path they could follow, because it doesn't feel balanced to them. For me, it does not feel balanced, and you do need to have balance. You need to have light and darkness, left and right, you know, wide and narrow. You have to have opposites and therefore balance. I think I'm getting my point across. Like I said, this is something I have gone into before, but after listening to both Justin and Brittany, it did kind of make me think about it again in a slightly different way, and made me, I did realise that I hadn't had this light and love message for quite a long time, sort of love and blessings, love and light, and haven't had that for a while in as a sign off on a message. And that must be because it does have this rather negative connotation to it now. As Justin said, say it if you mean it. If it means something, then it's okay, but don't use it as a way to dismiss someone's experiences. Don't use it as a way to cover up the fact that you don't agree with someone, and it's, you know, you use this phrase to dismiss them as a person. It's a brush off. You're giving them the brush off, basically. As I said, I think the biggest equivalent I can think of, the closest equivalent that I can think of here, is there, never mind. You know, there, never mind. Everything will be okay. It's not okay though. Things may be okay in the future, but at that point, whatever that someone's going through, where they need that perhaps confirmation that things will be all right, things are not all right there and then, and they need to experience pain to live and get through it. If you don't, I think, and I think it isn't very much an American word that kind of crept into being used quite a lot, is closure. You need closure. And maybe that's a way of looking at it. You know, you cannot fully experience something and live a full life if you are not accepting good and bad. You cannot just go through life expecting everything to be sunshine and roses and butterflies and bunnies, because for most people, nearly everyone, it's not going to happen that way. And that is just the way it is. So try not to be dismissive of other people's pain, experiences or path just by saying love and light or light blessings or whatever little phrase you use to give them the brush off. Don't do it. Don't say these things unless you truly mean them. And if you do truly mean them, you'll back them up with other words, not just that one phrase. It doesn't mean anything. It's best not to say anything and give a video a thumbs up, for instance, on YouTube, rather than just put a message, oh, love and light to you, love and blessings. I kind of see why people are getting angry about it. I do. I understand where the anger is coming from. And I think that also has to be acknowledged, that it is something that is making people very angry, which is probably why I'm doing this video. So there we go. That was my reaction rather than response to both Justin and, through Justin, Brittany's videos. And I will hopefully, if I remember, link their videos below. Like I said, please, they explain things a lot better than I do, because I don't know, they just do explain things, that they're not an old fuddy-duddy like me. Right, that's it. I'm going. Thank you for listening and for watching, witchy people. I will be back very soon. Hopefully with like hair done and stuff and not looking such an absolute mess. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.